Dear students of the MBA program of Southeast University, I do welcome you to the presentation on Business Management and Environment course. As you know, this course number is BUS 510, and this course has been divided into many modules and sessions. So, our today's topic would be on one of the lectures, and this is Foundation of Management. Now, what I will do, that I will give some clarifications about the meaning of management, about the functions of management, about the levels of management, and some knowledge about the managerial skills and managerial roles that are played in different organizations by the management. So, now come to the point. Actually, what we do in this kind of session, video presentation, actually there are time constraints, and that's why it's not possible to elaborate all the points, but you will be able to have a broad idea about the meaning of management and some relevant issues of management. So, let us now discuss about the meaning of management. Management has been defined by many authors in different ways. There are few similarities in most of the definitions, but there are the cases that the classical definitions of management have built the foundation for the modern definitions of management. The most important classical definition was given by Henry Fayol, and you know Henry Fayol was an industrialist in France, and he provided this definition on the basis of his personal experiences as manager and industrialist. In his definition, he focused on forecasting, planning, commanding, coordinating and controlling, and this made the basis for the subsequent definitions. The most modern definitions were provided by Kuhns and another very prominent author of today, Ricky Griffin. Let me cite or reproduce the definition of Ricky Griffin. He said that management is a set of activities directed at the organization's resources, so that all the resources can be effectively and efficiently utilized with the aim of achieving the goals of the organization. And for your understanding, now I will reproduce the definition of Griffin. Griffin said that management is a set of activities directed towards the resources of an organization with the aim of achieving the goals effectively and efficiently. You will find in this definition that he has emphasized on number 1 activities, a set of activities, and number 2 resources of the organization, and number 3 achievement of goals, and number 4 effectiveness and efficiency. So, let me clarify actually what he wanted to mean by the set of activities. By set of activities, he wanted to include planning and decision making, organizing, leading and controlling. These are the major activities of management, and he said that if these activities are directed towards the resources of the organization, then management would be able to achieve the goal. So, what are the resources? In fact, in any organization there are hundreds of resources, but on the basis of some common characteristics, all these resources can be classified into basic 4 resources. Number 1 physical resources, number 2 financial resources, number 3 human resources, and number 4 informational resources. He emphasized in his definition that if all these resources are utilized effectively and efficiently, then objective will be achieved. So, effectiveness and efficiency are two important issues in management. If as a manager you can attain the objective of the organization, or if you can fulfill the target of the organization exactly as it is, then you are effective as a manager. And if you can achieve the objective effectively without wasting resources, then you are an efficient manager. That is why he emphasized that both efficiency and effectiveness should be involved in the definition of management. So, on the basis of this definition and other definitions of different authors, we can say that management is basically to get the things done by people and through the people in order to achieve the organizational goal effectively and efficiently. Dear students, I hope you have been able to understand the meaning of management. Now, let us turn our attention to the basic functions of management. you can find out the functions of management from the very definition of management. If you analyze the definition, you will see that there are basically 4 types of function. Number 1, planning and decision making, number 2, organizing, number 3, leading, and number 4, controlling. It is not possible within this short period of time to give a detailed analysis of all these functions. So, we will simply give you a very short idea about the 4 functions of management. You see, in an organization there are actually dozens of functions, but all these functions on the basis of some common characteristics have been classified into 4, and that is why all these functions are very broad. Say for example, we can explain planning this way, that planning is deciding in advance what to be done, where to be done, how to be done, and who will do it. That is, every manager in any kind of activity in his department or in the organization will have to determine in advance. In advance means for the next 1 year or beyond 1 year. So, what does he decide? He actually decides what he wants to do in the next year, for example, then how he wants to do it, and then where he will do it, and who will be involved in doing it. These are broadly involved in planning. So, planning is related to the future, planning is not related to the past. So, future may be for a longer period of time or future may be for a short period of time. In the planning, we are involved actually in a process. In this process, what practically we do? Practically we first make an analysis of the situations of the company, both internal situations and external situations. After making an analysis of the situations, then on the basis of the data, we formulate or we set the objectives for the organization. In order to achieve the objectives, what do we do? As managers, what do? We develop a number of appropriate strategies in order to achieve the objectives. In order to implement the strategy, we need to determine, we need to decide on the resources that are needed in order to implement, and also we have to identify the required activities that are related to the achievement of the objectives and goals of the organization. All these are basically involved in the total planning process. In planning, you have to think about the different types of plan. Plans can be of 3 types on the basis of time dimension. One is called strategic plan, another one is called tactical plan, and the third one is called operational plan or operating plan. The strategic plans are prepared by the top management that affects the whole organization. So, in preparing the strategic plan, the managers look to the future, they scan the environment, they try to find out the opportunities, and they want to detect the threats in the environment, and then they analyze the internal situations, and based on all the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats, the top management develop grand strategies and grand plans for the organization, because these plans give proper direction to the mid level and lower level managers in the organization. That is why strategic plan is very important. Once the strategic plans are prepared, then these are passed down to the middle level managers, and the middle level managers prepare the tactical plans. The plans that they prepare at the mid level, that is at the departmental level or at the divisional level, these are called tactical plans, and the tactical plans are basically the broken down parts of the strategic plans. And the third type of plan is called operational plans. The operational plans involve the day-to-day activities necessary at the department and individual levels, and these plans are prepared on the basis of the tactical plans. So, strategic plan, then tactical plan, and then operational plans, these are sequentially linked with one another. So, whenever you will think about the different types of plans, you have to think in a broad way, in a linked way, so that you can have a broad understanding about the different types of plans. In addition to these 3 types of plans, there are also 2 types of plans called single use plan and standing plan. Single use plans are those plans which are prepared for a particular purpose. If the purpose is served, if the particular activity is over, then the plan is discarded. The plan is not used again. That is why it is called single use plan or temporary plan. For example, if your company prepares an annual budget, then this budget becomes obsolete at the end of the year. That is why annual budget is an example of single use plan. Similarly, any project, any program of any organization is also a single use plan, because at the end of a specific period this plan is discarded. And the second type of plan is called standing plans. Standing plans are those plans which are used time and again for the similar types of activities. Usually they last for a longer period of time. For example, the policies of the company, the administrative policy, the salary related policies, financial policies, marketing policies, etc. All these policies are usually used time and again by the management. That is why these are examples of standing plans. Standard operating procedures and rules and regulations are other examples of standing plans. At the first time I said that planning and decision making is classified as one category of activity or function of management. So, another part in the planning is decision making. Although decision making is an integral part of each function of management, but we have to discuss this issue here along with the planning. Decision making is simply choosing one solution from among several solutions to a given problem. Whenever a manager faces a problem, then he will have to solve it. In order to solve the problem, he needs to identify several courses of action. Then he compares, then he measures the merits and demerits of all the courses of action, and finally he selects one. This process of selecting one best solution for a particular problem out of many available solutions is called decision making. So, actually you have to remember that in each function of management you have to use decision making, because without decision nothing can happen. So, in leading, in organizing, in controlling, everywhere you will find that decision making is an integral part. So, now we will turn our attention to the second function of management. The second function of management is organizing. So, in organizing, 4 activities are involved. Number 1, you have to identify the required activities in the organization, and secondly, you have to group the activities that you have already identified in the first step on the basis of some common attributes, and thirdly, you have to assign each group of function under one manager, so that the activities can be supervised. And finally, that is at the 4th level or 4th stage, you have to coordinate the activities. You have to make arrangement for coordination of the activities in the organization. If you can understand these 4 activities associated with organizing, you will be able to assign tasks to the people in the organization, to assign responsibilities to all of the employees in the organization, to determine the resources that will be needed to perform the activities in the organization, and also you will be able to find out some mechanisms for coordination at the departmental level, at the organizational level, and also at the individual level. An important task in organizing is to develop an organization chart. In fact, organization chart is very popularly known in our country as organogram. In the organogram, you will see that who are responsible to whom for his or her activities. So, the reporting relationships or the authority relationships are depicted in the organization chart or organogram. So, this is a very important function of management, because if you do not prepare an organization chart, it will not be able to pinpoint the chain of command in the organization. So, the total chain of command will be represented diagrammatically in the organization chart. The third function of management is leading. And leading is basically influencing other people so that they contribute to the achievement of the organizational goals. So, leading involves directions, instructions, motivation, leadership styles and approaches, and communication. Whenever you will attempt to define leadership or leading, you have to emphasize on the term influencing. So, what is influencing basically? Influencing or influence is basically any attempt by a person to change the behavior of other people. So, who are these other people? These other people in the context of an organization, as a manager, you will say that these other people are number one, your senior people, that is your bosses and other seniors, then your colleagues or your peers and your subordinates. So, if you are effective in influencing the behavior of all these parties in your organization, you will be able to become a very effective manager. In addition to that, you have to also influence the other stakeholders in the organization who are outside the organizational structure, and they are government officials, your customers, bankers, insurance people, or anybody or any organization with whom your organization has a link. So, in order to become an effective leader or successful leader, you have to identify the influence tactics and you have to apply them effectively. If you can do it, you will become a very good leader in your organization. And leading is very important in the sense that if there is a lacking in the leadership, all other functions, planning, organizing, controlling, actually will be nothing. They will produce nothing. That is why leadership is very important function. And last function is controlling. In fact, in controlling, what is done? In controlling, the managers make a comparison of the actual activities of the people with the original plan, because in the case of any activity, the managers first develop a plan, all the targets or standards are set, and then people are given direction in order to perform their activities according to the plan. So, during the process of continuing the function or activities, the managers will have to know whether all the activities are being directed properly, all the activities are being performed properly, and whether the people will be able to achieve the objectives on time according to the plan. That is why when they will measure the performance against the standards, they will be able to find out any deviation or any differences. If there are differences or deviations, then they will try to find out the causes of those deviations, and finally, they will be able to make corrective actions. So, this is all about the functions of management. You should also have some idea about the levels of management. In any organization, there are 3 levels. Number 1, the topmost level is called top level, the mid level is called middle level, and the third level is called lower level or first line level. And accordingly, at the top level, there are top managers such as managing director, chairman, etc. They are top level managers. And secondly, the mid level managers are usually departmental managers, divisional managers, those who are practically prepare the tactical plans, they are the mid level managers. And the operational level or operating level managers, also called the first line level managers, are the assistant managers and other executives in the organization. Dear students, now we are at the close of the first part of the foundation of management. We will discuss the second part later. So, whatever we have discussed, I hope if you have listened to it carefully, you have been able to define the management, to have a very broad idea about the management. You will be able to identify the different activities of management or functions of management. You will be able to define all these functions, and you will also be able to have a very broad idea about the different levels of management. So, if these things are clear, then it would be very much possible for you, I hope, to understand the managerial skills and managerial roles that are integral part of management. And in the second part of our topic, we will discuss about the managerial roles and the managerial skills. Thank you very much.